And New Zealand take down Pakistan in Auckland and take a 1-0 lead in the 5-match series. So welcome to the shiny side. I'm your host Faris, and we have joining us from Dubai, Umair Qazi, who looks like he's still reacting to the game we just saw. How are you doing, Umair?
I'm doing all right, Faris. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. So different rhythm, different kind of cricket, a lot of test cricket happening across the world, but suddenly it looks like it's time for the white ball stuff. I guess maybe you can just kick things off for the 30-second summary of the day, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, sure. So here goes. It was Shaheen Afridi's first international game for Pakistan as captain. He won the toss and chose to bowl first. He thought that was the way to go and chase on this smallish ground. Um, Seemed like a right decision given that 200 plus totals on this ground had been chased in the past. New Zealand posted 226, big target. Pakistan bowlers looked all right. Abbas Afridi making his debut looked pretty good. Picked up 3 wickets. And Aamer, Jamal and Usama got hit around. Pakistan's chase was, I would say, all right, with Saim Ayub going great guns, but he was unlucky to get run out. And then Babar did what Babar does best, stay on till most of the innings, scoring well-made 50 odd, but no one could stick around and take Pakistan over the finish line.
Okay, so 50 seconds. So I guess starting off at the top right, so you mentioned the toss. That was probably the right call, but I don't think it was a call that made a huge impact on the game either way. If you look at the 11s, which we went in with, so we went in with, a surprise for me was Abbas Afridi, because my sense of Abbas Afridi is that he's probably not in the top 6 bowlers at the moment, so he's unlikely to feature in the World Cup, not before today at least. But was that a surprise for you, having him in the 11 over Wasim Jr. or Zaman Khan?
Yeah, I was not expecting Abbas Afridi to play today. I thought Zaman Khan or Mohammad Wasim Jr. Will play. But I guess Pakistan is taking this series as the one where they're going to try out a few new players just to create a squad for the T20 World Cup and to create a bunch. And so from that note, it's a good thing.
He had a really good PSL for Multan Sultan, so I've seen him bowl quite a bit. He looks impressive. He also happens to be the nephew of Umar Gul, who's the current bowling coach. I'm hoping his selection had everything to do with the first one and not the second one. But I guess moving on to New Zealand. So again, I think a bit of trouble for them. So Ferguson is not available for this game because he only joins for the third game. But Santner tested positive for COVID earlier today. So that's why he had to be left out. He's currently isolating in his hotel room. I guess they don't have too many options, but Milne came right in, and Ben Sears, who I've never seen before, he debuted and he looked pretty good. I guess moving on to Pakistan's bowling first, right? So it seems like, again, I think we all know this, that Auckland is known for the shortest boundaries, straight boundaries especially. And I think the fact is that if someone makes a new straight team play with these dimensions, they won't even get recognized. But because they already have international status, that's why they continue to have cricket there. But in spite of which, I feel like Pakistan, generally speaking, and Aamer Jamal in particular, our lengths were just too full. I think even Shaheen in that second over when he bowled to Finn Allen, I just feel like we got our lengths wrong as a team overall, especially Shaheen in that over and then Aamer Jamal. So what did you make of that? I mean, I know it's his debut, but you should know that this is the short straight boundary perhaps in the world. It's not what you should be bowling.
No, completely. We got our lengths completely wrong. And given that we have a captain who is a fast bowler primarily, he should have known and guided the new players on what lengths need to be bowled, whether it was Abbas Afridi or Aamer Jamal. And I think Abbas Afridi did all right. He got the slower ones in that got him the wickets. And even Shaheen came back strongly. His first over was very good. But yeah, there was no consistency. It seemed like there was no planning. It seemed like Pakistan were just out there going through the motions. Fielding was all over the place. We were dropping catches, just like the test matches. Saim Ayub took 4 good ones, but still, I mean, we didn't hold on to our chances and we bowled really badly.
Yeah. In terms of Shaheen's captaincy, right? So one thing I noted was Shaheen and Haris bowled the first 3 overs, and then they bowled the last 4. Which meant in the middle, there was a 13-over period where we only had your 2 experienced guys only bowled 1 of those overs. So maybe given how inexperienced the attack was, maybe there could have been an effort, and especially given how well New Zealand scored, especially from over 11 to 16, they scored about 82 runs in those 6 overs, right? So maybe there could have been an effort to bring Haris or Shaheen back earlier. What do you think of that, and also the captaincy overall in the field?
Babar to captain Thani. बट लोग कहते थे कि बाबर आजम जो पेपर पे लिखा होता है, जो बॉलिंग चेंजेस है वही करता है 20 ओवर में. Shaheen, I think, had the same paper in his pocket. I
Yeah,
didn't see any difference. There, but at the end of the day, I also feel T20 cricket is the format which has least impact of a captain.
sure.
It's too short a game. There are not enough overs for bowlers to set batsmen up. There's probably more captaincy required in ODIs and Tests than it is
Yeah,
in T20s. I always felt changing Babar will not have much impact. We saw that in the game today. And yeah, it seemed like Shaheen had used the same template that Babar had been using.
yeah,
And I didn't see much difference in the field at all.
yeah. And again, I think Daryl Mitchell was obviously in incredible form in the ODI World Cup, different format, different country, but he's just continued where he left off. He looked incredible,
Yeah,
probably the difference between the two sides today.
yeah. No, he was amazing. I think he got to 50 of like 21, 22 deliveries.
Yeah,
He took Usama Mir apart,
yeah.
and yeah, he played really well.
Yeah, I think Osama and so you touched upon it. Osama and Aamer Jamal were the two weak links here. Both went for over 50 runs in their 4 overs, didn't get a wicket.
Yeah,
I
I
think the thing
think
with
they gave away 110 runs,
yeah,
and the other three bowlers in their 12 gave away 110, the same
yeah,
amount.
yeah,
So
yeah. Aamer Jamal, again, I think I'm not saying I'm against trying him out here, but his economy in domestic T20s and in international is over 10 consistently over a fairly large sample size. So I hope if we can do something different here, then that's great. But I feel like it doesn't look very promising. I think he could go down the way of an Anwar Ali as a bowling all-rounder, whose batting is brilliant for a bowling all-rounder, but I'm not sure if his bowling is good enough for this format. But again, it's just
yeah,
one game. I would like to see him for another game or two. What did you make of
yeah.
Osama and Aamer?
Yeah, look, Osama Mir has been quite weak since the World Cup.
Yeah,
He is not Shadab Khan's replacement at all. Um, we need to try more spinners. I don't know who's around, who's not, but yeah. So no, Osama has not impressed me much. Amir Jamal, I still feel is a great asset to have. Yes, he has a high economy, but he has a tendency to pick up wickets as well. He was unlucky that he picked one off a no ball. He would have had Finn Allen earlier.
yeah,
But I think he could be a good utility player for Pakistan. Good number 7, 8. Who chips in with wickets, scores some runs. So I think they'll keep trying him. But yeah, spin has been a weakness for a while now, and we need Shadab back in full flow,
yeah,
more than anything else.
yeah. Before we move on to Pakistan's batting, was not trying Ifti at all a mistake, given that it's the bowlers was really getting it, and there was Osama was going for a lot, so was Amir Jamal. So maybe perhaps just try something different. Ifti is a pretty canny operator. We've seen that lately.
Yeah, so Shaheen did not change that paper that Babar gave him, before in his first game. So but yeah, yeah. See, the thing is, in T20, it's never a good idea to go with just 5 bowlers. You
Yeah.
need a sixth option, a seventh option. You need to change them around, and
And I
Shaheen
think
didn't.
even my view is even if things are going well, you give that sixth bowler an over or two, so you have options towards the end. I think that's what you should always do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
So moving on to the batting, I guess the biggest bright spot for me was Syme with the bat, and I know he got run out, but I think while he was there, he looked really good. And I won't even say he failed because if he's scoring 22 of 7 or 8, you are essentially giving your team a start. So he could have, of course, gone
yeah,
on and
absolutely.
won the game for us, but he kind of did his job. What did you make of Syme? And
Yeah.
I mean, again, I found it super exciting to watch him.
No, he's a superstar in the making,
Yeah,
and he has shown a lot of promise in domestic cricket and around leagues around the world. And people were raving about his 33 in the Test match as well. But look, but today he was magnificent.
yeah,
He was really unfortunate to get out, run out, because it didn't seem like he would get out any other way. He was hitting the ball all around the park, gave Pakistan a great start.
yeah.
But no, yeah, he's a superstar in the making.
Yeah. And I generally like the look of the top four, right? So I feel like Rizwan with Syme, I think it looked good. He was taking on the game well, scored a pretty decent strike rate. I think Babar at 3 again played a very solid knock. We come back to Babar later. And then Fakhr at 4, who perhaps is the best hitter of spin among all of these guys. So it makes sense for him
Yeah.
to be coming at 4. I just like the look of that. And I feel like I'm pretty happy if this is what we stick with. What's your take on
Look,
how we structure the top 4?
I like the top four. I completely like the look of it, as you said. What I would like to see happen though is that if Saim Ayub gets out, probably Fakhar Zaman should come out to bat and not Babar. And if Rizwan gets out, then Babar Azam comes out.
So it's
You
funny you
keep
say
the
that, right?
right, left.
Because I've been talking about this, how when you play gully cricket, it's a very normal thing where who goes in depends on who gets out, right? If you're playing a 5-over game, but somehow international teams don't typically do that. But I think, Bob, this is a classic case where I feel like that makes a lot of sense.
It makes complete sense. You'll keep the right left combo going, and you'll keep one anchor there with
Yeah,
the aggressor on
yeah,
the other end.
yeah.
So I think it, but
Yeah.
I don't know how flexible Pakistan will be.
Yeah, and I think going on to New Zealand's bowling, I think they showed the value of having bowlers who bowling 140k and above, right? I think even this new guy was
Yeah,
bowling, Sayers was bowling quite well,
uh,
at times
Harish
they
bowled really
really,
well today.
yeah. I think when Pakistan was trying to really take it on, they were not able to get a lot of the big hits in the middle. What do you make of
Yeah,
their fast bowlers, especially Matt
yeah,
Henry, who came back after a
no, no,
injury break?
they bowled really well. They bowled the right lengths.
Yeah,
And I think it was Glenn Phillips in the middle who said that, the Pakistan bowlers got their lengths wrong, and we're looking to correct that. So,
yeah,
but look, even then, we got to 180 odd in 18 overs.
yeah.
And it didn't seem like we played out of our skins.
No,
So,
yeah, no.
that's not a bad thing. I mean, we're 10 and over, not bad at all.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. In fact, if you look at the follow, we were about what I think we were about 159 for five for four at some point with about a good 6 overs to go or something like that.
Yeah.
In terms of Azam Khan, so I have a view on this. Azam Khan, whether you like his selection or not, if you are playing him, you have to play to his strengths, right? And if you look at his domestic T20 record, his strike rate against spin is the third best in the world. So if you are playing him, you should probably play him in a manner where he gets to play some spin. When he came in to bat, Saudi was done with his 3 overs. He never bowled his fourth over. He was held back probably because Azam Khan was in, and they peppered him with the short stuff. So I feel like if you are playing him, maybe bat him at 5. Like today, I feel like when the third wicket went down, maybe he would have been a better option to come in instead of Ifti. Because again, if you are playing him, maximize what he's good at, supposedly.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, look, Azam Khan has not transformed his domestic success in international so far. He's
Yeah,
had 6 or 7 chances, yes, sporadically, but let's
yeah,
see. I hope he comes good. But then you can't also have him anywhere in the field, so he has to keep. I don't think he's the best keeper in the 11 that played today.
yeah.
Rizwan is the better keeper, but then you can't find a place for him on the field. So not really sure about him yet.
Yeah, because again, you're right. Even if you just look at the batting, that's fair. That's a fair point. But if you're on the field, we opted to make our best keeper field today, for sure. And then Rizwan, he may be very athletic, but he's not used to really being in the field. So there were a couple of moments where you saw that, right? Rizwan not being so. I guess there was a couple of fumbles from him. Azam Khan also let 1 or 2 go.
Yeah.
But again, I feel like given that he's played and they'll probably play another game or two, I would rather see him at 5. So or at least when I send him earlier so he can take on the spinners as opposed to just being there for the quicks.
True.
I think we have to talk about something Imran Aslam messaged me. Imran was on the show often saying that, Pakistani fans on Twitter saying Williamson played really well, 52 or 42, but Babar Azam lost us the game by scoring 57 or 35. Williamson's strike rate was 130, Babar was 165. So how do we make sense of that?
It makes no sense to me at all. Zero sense. I mean, to me, it seems like both of them had the same role in the teams today. Um, Babar batted with a strike rate of 163. How did he lose you the game?
Yeah.
Kane Williamson batted at 135. He had everyone around him bat and hit.
Yeah.
No one batted around Babar Azam. Babar
Yeah.
had to do both. He
Yeah.
had to stay there and he had to score the runs.
Yeah.
I mean, our fans are the worst fans in the world. The worst.
I thought Bauer actually looked really good. This is probably the most fluent I've seen him with the bat in a
In a
long
while.
time, in a few months. And I just
Yep.
thought he looked really good. He's played the conditions.
Yeah.
He took on the right matchups and so on and so forth. Again, he got absolutely no support from the other side. But what do you make of his innings, keeping the fans aside for a second?
No, he played really well. I thought he batted really well. And as you said, he looked more fluent than he has in a while.
Yeah. Okay, good stuff. So I guess this is, again, I think the key objective of this series is perhaps trying out talent, figuring out the best 11 over necessarily winning, right? So I think a lot of us feel like we didn't play our best 11. If this was the final, we would not have played this 11. Maybe Usama would probably not have been in there. Maybe not even Aamer, Jamal, but I think it makes sense to try these guys. Going forward, we have another T20 coming up in not a long time. It's on Sunday morning in Hamilton. So we barely have any time left. If you look at the last few games in Hamilton, in the last 5 games. And with T20s, I don't like to go too far back because I feel like those average scores don't tell you much for T20s 10 years ago. But in the last 5 games, 4 of them have been won by the team batting first, which scored between 180 and 210. The only time a team batting first did not score 180 was Pakistan a few years ago. They made 164, and that was chased down comfortably. So it seems like it's the kind of track where if you get 180 on the board, perhaps you in with the game. Given all of that, I'm just going to put up, I guess, the squad we have at the moment. Would you make any changes for Pakistan in the next game? And again, like I said, you want to try out things, not necessarily win everything, but how do you see the 11 for the next game? The 11 on the left is what we played today. So would you bring any of the guys on the right in?
Yeah, look, I think some of the bowlers should be shuffled around.
Yeah.
Zaman
Especially with a
Khan,
short turnaround and a flight tomorrow.
Yeah. Zaman Khan, Wasim Jr. should probably get a game in.
Yeah.
Either both or one of them. And I guess Hasibullah Khan is a spinner, right?
Hasibullah Khan is actually a bit of a batsman, and he also keeps.
Oh, he's the third keeper, of course. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm missing that. So Nawaz is on the
Shahab Farhan is the opening batsman.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I would keep the top 4 the same. But yes, I'll bring in Nawaz, our beloved match winner, instead of Usama Mir. Usama Mir is useless. And I would definitely look to play either Zaman or Wasim Jr. instead of Jamal.
I mean, I would definitely, I would maybe even think about resting, I don't know, Shaheen or Rauf, because again, those are the guys who workload management, didn't play a test match, etc. But again, Rauf, I guess maybe not Rauf, maybe Shaheen, but maybe one more game.
Shaheen आपका कैप्टन है यार, अभी तो पहला मैच खेले, वो नहीं बैठा,
true, वो नहीं बैठेगा अभी. And Abbas, I want to see again in action, right? So I think Abbas, I don't want to leave out. So maybe
he should play, yeah.
Aamer Jamal can maybe sit this one out, and one of the
I think, see, if you have Usama and Jamal sit out, you play Nawaz, you get your number 7, you get another spinner, and instead of one of the paces, you get Zaman Khan or Jr.
I also would, again, I mentioned this before, I would like to see if you're playing Azam, play him at 5 and Ifti at 6. Because Ifti, as it is, can take on pace as soon as he comes in, but not spin as much. So again, let's see how
why have we not taken more spinners on this tour? Like, why?
Well, we had Abrar, right? But we realized Abrar will not be there 10 days ago. So we could have sent a replacement in. I mean, I wasn't even sure. I think it's a mystery whether was he going to fly back, because he flew back from Australia. There was no word whether he would fly back for the T20s or not. So there's now been no word since. I'm assuming he's not there, but I don't know for sure. Looking at New Zealand, so they're a bit of a thinner squad than we do. So the 11 on the left is what we saw today. Ferguson on the right is not available to the third game, and Satna, I'm assuming, will not be COVID negative in time for Sunday. So that only leaves Clarkson, who's a bit of an all-rounder. I don't believe he's played a game yet, and then there's the backup keeper called Seifert. Would you see them making any changes, or do you feel like they're going to stick to this?
They'll probably stick to this. Maybe Ferguson will play.
Yeah, I mean, Ferguson's not available for the next game. He comes in the third game. So he's available from Wednesday's game.
No, then I don't see any of the changes.
Yeah. It's interesting. We spoke about this in the preview. You weren't on this, but it seems like, unlike Pakistan, who's trying a lot of fresh talent and trying to see new combinations, New Zealand seems to be just playing the team we've been seeing for a few years now, and they feel like they just want to keep going with that. So different approach somewhat. But predictions for the next game?
Given we were the team that made it to the final and the semi-final of the previous one, and we are wanting to make changes, and New Zealand, who I think didn't even make the semis this time,
but we beat them in the semi last time in the T20 World Cup.
We beat them in the semi, and in 22 they played the final.
They played the final,
So pretty much the same thing. I mean, fine. Like, oh man.
But again, in that case, they feel like that team is doing consistently well, so they're not making changes. We are doing consistently well, so be like, hang on, let's just like change everything else. So classic. But good stuff. Just before we finish, and by the way, those of you watching, if you want, what changes do you think Pakistan should make? Please leave a comment. And while you're at it, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Aamer, what changes? What's your prediction for Hamilton?
Pakistan.
Okay. Good stuff, Aamer. Thank you for being on the show.
All right.
And we'll be back after the T20 on Sunday. In the meantime, stay tuned to the shiny side.
Thank you.